What is going on, everybody? Welcome into my homestead today. Yes, the video itself that was prior to this one got a little long, so I went ahead and broke it up, as that part being the future of Into My GT and what my thoughts were and going on, and then this one, yeah, is now cat edited. So she's going to go ahead and lay on me, and I'm just going to keep talking because, that's kind of what happens. So this other part, we get into the Mustang and kind of show some of the things that were done through the 2 years of ownership. So the first part is what my future plans are. The second part is pretty much all about WASP and kind of some of the tie-ins of the rest. So I hope you enjoy it, and on with part two. Good old WASP. I love this car more and more every day. Like I said, I took it out this weekend and she does not disappoint. She is a riot to drive now, and she drives so smooth. And I'm telling you, it's these tires. The Firehawk Indy 500s. This car rides so smooth, or Discount Tire did one hell of a job balancing, or whatever the case, whatever the deal is with these tires and the way it's set up right now with these rims, it is an incredible ride. Like I said, I'm going 90, 100 miles an hour. You don't feel like you're flying on a pillow. It is so weird. And like I said, I've always wanted people to try the Indy 500s the Firehawks, when they, switch from other tires, because you're not going to be disappointed. You're not going to be disappointed. They got the same wear compound as a Nitto, but it drives so much softer. Like I said, the only drawback on these, on a 20 at least, is it doesn't get any wider in the rear than a 305. I don't know why, but the Nittos can go to a 315 or 325, I believe, in a 20. I'm not sure on a 20. I know on a 19s, but on a 19s, the Firehawks can go to a 325. So it varies weirdly with the size tire, and I don't know why in a 20 they don't go that wide. But I'm telling you guys, if you're ever in the market for tires and you want to try something different, other than the normal ones that people use, go with these. I have always said that these were the best tires I ever ran, and I got disappointed when I ran the Nittos for a little while, and now I'm back to these. And if they make them for the truck at some point, I may even go for the truck on these. So like I said, that's how much I'm in love with those tires. So let's make an evaluation of WASP. Now, I have had WASP since 2023, and that's October of 2023. It is a 24 model, but that's when it got shipped to me and I picked it up. So in 2023 for 24 model, that's what this car is. We are now in November of 25, so roughly 2 years and a month have passed since I purchased this car. Now, looking at it, there's little changes on the outside. Wheels, tires, RTR grill, fog lights. But other than that, and the tint, it is basically the way the car came. Little knickknacks here and there, but it's basic the way a car came. This yellow paint is amazing in the sun. And again, I have to refer back to Brandon and Pam on this one, because I was not going to get it. I was going to get Atlas Blue to match the truck, red brakes for a truck, you know, that type of deal. And I was thinking about, you know, if I ever towed it or whatever, I would tow it like that. So I have to give them props where props are due, because this yellow car pops in the sunlight. It has the flake. I don't know if you could see it now with the reflection off of it right now, but this car, when it's clean, it shines and it looks great. So I am tickled to death with this car, even more so now because of the little add-ons that I've done. When I first purchased it, and you know, it had, well, it advertised at 486 because of the active exhaust, but this car fell flat to me. And I don't know if it's because I had Electra, because Electra, you know, was 750 horsepower, you know, on pump gas. So I don't know if that's my expectation. The whole car is designed a little different. It's more of a, you know, road course street car versus the raw of the S197, you know, the 14 that I had. So there's a lot of differences, and it took me a little bit to get used to the mannerism of this car, and I'm still getting used to them because I've made some changes to it, right? So it is not that weak ass car that it was before, because after doing the first dyno, it was like 417. Now, for people that have not had Mustangs or had them boosted or whatever, you would understand my train of thought with that. Pam's car, it is not boosted. It is 409 horsepower to the wheel. Has a 302 Boss 302 intake, you know, course exhaust, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much in this lowered on iBox Pro kit. You know, and the wheels and tires, you know, I kind of swap around on my own. So it's kind of like that. But when you get into this car right here, and you got into my blue car, you know, it was night and day. And then now going from this car to this thing is crazy, because we're talking 409, we're talking 850. That's another Mustang, just to put that in perspective. And you know, everybody has boosted these cars now, because that was the kind of the thing that people had to do. So as I have done my work with this car, I have gradually made it a little bit more mine. People still want me to put a lip on it, say a lip looks good. Maybe down the road, I'll think of something, or take a look and see what's out there. I don't like an aggressive lip. I don't like one that sticks out 2 feet off the front of the car. I don't like, you know, something that hangs out this far. Because again, when I do work on my car, I do the work on my car when I can, right? So with that being done, I'm always over the hood, whatever. So I'm like this. I would kick the shit out of a lip. So that's kind of one of the things. I don't have any clearance issues at the moment, so I can go up and down driveways and down over speed bumps and not have to worry about rubbing. So yes, it kind of leaves that cool factor, the way it looks type stuff, you know, off the table a little bit. But you know, everybody's got their own trait of what they want to do, right? So right now this front end is fine with me. The RTR front end looks good at night. Like I said, once I pulled that ground off the hood out of the fuse box, it made it to a driver light versus a bright light like it was. So now it sits in the background while the headlights and the fog lights take up the show, you know, just the way it's supposed to. So you have the RTRs is more like a driving type style. So it looks amazing at night when it's coming at you. Well, I guess this has become a WASP show and tell. So let's show and tell some more. So interior wise, nothing has really changed interior wise. It's the same dash, it's the same seats, all that good stuff. They're heated and cooled, you know, premium, whatever. The shift ball was changed because when Brandon first had his car and he got the new trans put in there and the MGW shifter for that car, that ball would not fit his. Now since then he has gone through couple more transmissions and a new shifter. So it may work on his car now, but that is mine now. He's not having it. So just to have a little close-up of it, it looks really good in here with everything done. And I guess the next major thing that was done is the rear seat delete. And the reason why I did the rear seat delete, and thanks to EMPparts.com, go over there, they make your own custom one if you need it. A, I got a custom one made, so that's kind of why I wanted it. And B, the back seats back here, unless you're 2 inches tall, you're not really gonna use them, because we're short. My seats are there, and then having somebody in there with leg room, you're not really having it. I mean, these are like kind of 2+2 cars. They give you the back seats because of insurance, but you really don't use them. You're throwing stuff back there. So I got this made from them. You know, the bottom part's carpeted, the top part is the CNC plastic up there, or whatever it's made out of. I'm not trying to make it sound like I know what I'm talking about. And it looks great. I did do some extra stuff. It's dynamatted, so you could tell with that thug, it is dynamatted. It has the polyfill on the bottom, and then the backboard is actually dynamatted also to keep the noise from not having a seat in there lowered down. So like I said, it's kind of one of those things, but it looks great. It has the WASP logo, my logo at the top, into my GT, and like I said, it works out pretty good. And like I said, if you're traveling in this, you have a couple of duffel bags or whatever, shirts, whatever you need to, you could still use this back seat to put stuff in, and you have your whole trunk to deal with too. So not a bad gig. And like I said, I think it looks great, and they did an awesome job with what I sent them to do. So if y'all ever need a rear seat delete, go look them up, because again, I don't get things from people, but I do admire good work. So if I'm paying money for something and it comes out like this, then you know, y'all should probably take a look at it too. I'll put my name on it for sure. So with the show and tell portion still going, these wheels. Now, if you didn't see my last video, was it my last video or one of the videos? These wheels were ordered in February. They were a pre-order. With the GTD coming out, they had these reps come out for it. I want to say Modern Muscle is the company or the actual brand of the wheel. But I got these through Gen, G-E-N Automotive. They have two different versions. They have a forge and a roto forge, or rotary forge. So you're talking 36 to 4,000 for the forge, and then the rotary forms are $2 grand. With the forge, you have a little bit more of a color palette that you could go with. With the rotary forge, which what these are, you got your black, your satin, and I think a gold with it. So, or maybe a gunmetal. It's like a gunmetal, a black, and a gold type. So I went with the black, obviously, because that's kind of what I go with, right? So black, you know, the whole accent, the yellow and black, black and yellow, but it's not a Charger. And I think it works out pretty good. These wheels are amazing. They look great on the car. And they're light. They're super light. I don't know why, maybe from the rotary forge or forging or whatever process they use to do what they need to do with these wheels. They're amazingly light. So if you're looking for a nice set of wheels that don't weigh a lot, I would check these out too, because like I said, they're amazing wheels. The only thing, and it might have been just the people that did my install, the paint on these will scar up really easily. So when I got my wheels and tires mounted, like in the dome here, you can't really tell. I kind of whacked some of it out. It did a lot of fine scratches where the little cup ties into the rim to mount the tires. Now that could have been the process of the discount doing it, or what have you, you know, just not paying attention to what's going on with it or whatever, or it's just something that's going to happen. But again, I kind of fixed that out pretty good, and you can't really see that anymore. Every now and then, if you shine the light on it right, you might see the little scars in there, but for the most part, it is covered up. And once you drive it once or twice and the road dust gets on it, it kind of covers everything up. Another thing, same scenario, because I got the car realigned. It was kind of pulling to the right a little bit. Not too much, but it was enough that the horse was a little cocked to the side. So, you know, you're driving it, you're seeing it, you're just like, oh. So I went ahead and got that fixed. But in that meantime, they had to put the cups that go around the rim to put the little mirrors to do the angling to it, to get the alignment straight. Well, again, it put little scuffs. I don't know if y'all can see that. Right there and right there, and it goes around the wheel, kinda. Some are worse than others, and again, I could probably wax it out of it a little bit, or it's going to make it worse trying to do that. So nevertheless, just make sure you have a good shop doing it. I don't blame the shop. Maybe the paint itself, you know, is a little thick, so it scars up a little easier. Because like I said, they're amazing looking wheels. They are amazing. You know, it's going to get scratched up anyway. The wheels aren't going to be perfect forever. So for the most part, they're amazing look to them. And like I said, with the Brimbos in the back, like I said, I don't have no regrets. And again, these were accidental. Because like I said, I pre-ordered them in February. I got laid off the end of February. And then with that going on, I totally forgot that these were done. No money came out the account, but I took it out of the account as I paid for them back then anyway. So when I saw the charge pop up after I got back from Mustang week, it was like, oh, what are these? And I looked, and you know, it took me a minute, but I figured out what happened. So that's how these came to be. And it was a happy surprise. You know, they already paid for in my mind back in the day, so you know, it's not that big of a deal. But like I said, it's just kind of, you know, well, WASP got a new set of wheels. On with Joel's normal wheel. Freaking, I need help. I know, I do. But anyway, let's continue on. Alright guys, I had to turn on the lights, but as you can see, when I was messing around with the lights, I was gonna go work on this, and maybe I'll show you at the end of this video how it ended up. But like I said, I just got the outside light on and the one over the car on right now, and I got the two centers off. And that's just for right now because I'm filming. I don't know if it's messing with the camera like it normally does because it's not as intense as it was. And I have the front light, garage door on open too. But anyway, with the car continuing on, we went ahead and did the 5% tint. Well, it's 20 and 5 on the back 3. Like I said, my buddy Steve did it. He said he was going to come back and fix some of the stuff on it because there's a bunch of air bubbles on the top right here, down here, right in the middle right there where there's dust, and then like little things or whatever. But you know, he never got around to it. He got busy, whatever the case is. I'm not going to chase you down at all. So it is what it is. But for the most part, it looks pretty good. I am running into my GT sticker up there. Follow me on YouTube, thumbs up and subscribe. That is the deal. That's what makes these things happen, right? So kind of help out your boy a little bit and go ahead and give me a little hands up there, a little like, you know, we're all about it. The Whipple sticker, the Steeda sticker, the Corsa sticker. Whipple up front, Steeda suspension and sway bars, Corsa exhaust from mid-pipe back, and then I got Cook's long tube headers. And as you can see, I'm under the light and it's starting to act all crazy again. So let me back off of that a little bit here and show you from afar. All right, so with the tint being done and the black windows and all my advertising that I'm doing for other people and myself right there, you know, you come down the side a little bit, and I got the Diodynamic side markers. They are the smoked clear version, if that makes any sense. They're smoke color, but they're clear. I like those a lot. They're front and back, yellow in the front, red in the rear, just the way it's supposed to be, right? And then my tail lights. People have said, well, why don't you get the Euros, da da da, you know, go with some color changing, da da da. I don't really want that for this car. I think the little accents that I have going on, the Brembo brakes are red, tail lights are red. Back here, the sign markers, they're also clear. They're usually a reflector, and they're just red reflector. These are the clear smoked with the red line that goes through it. They light up with the tail lights. Not the tail lights, sign markers. So you have that going on, and it's a crazy effect when it's cold outside, and there, you know, you got the steam going and the red behind it. So it has a cool little effect. But I didn't want to change the taillights for a couple reasons. One, they're not as easy as to do on Brandon's car anymore. You have to drop the whole back bumper, or at least detach it, to get to the bolts that hold it in spot. So that's kind of one thing. Second, I got kind of a theme going on, okay? I got the red there, the red on the brakes, the little red dot on the black, you know, red up front, and so on and so on. So there's like little accents of red with the yellow, ketchup and mustard, okay, that we have going on. And that's kind of where my mindset is with it. I like the way that it looks. I think it gives it a nice, I even got a license plate that kind of goes with the theme of the car. Not that I listen to Margaritaville or I'm a parrot head for real, you know, I don't sit there and drink and talk about shipwrecks and whatever, but you know, I do like their music, and I think it kind of fits the vehicle, if anything. The color scheme with the yellow there, the blue kind of fades in, the red parrot, you know, everything has a reason for being on this car. Right now, you know, that's how it is. And like I said, I love this car to death now. Like I said, I was kind of when I first got it because you couldn't tune them. You couldn't do much with it, you know. And then, of course, after I whippled it, tuning became available, right? So that opened up a whole different thing. So I'm fine with missing the whole, I got to run E85, do the fuel system, do everything NA first, you know. I don't want to know what it was NA first. This is what I like. So, you know, it is what it is. Hold on a second, guys. I got to get me a drink. Oh, hold on. Just in case people want to advertise. Pepsi Zero, baby. All right. Now that we were talking about the rear of the car, you know, with the tail lights and in the license plate and the little reflectors. I don't know if I can open the doors and the reflectors come on. Let me see. No. I need to get the keys. But I'll show you that more. Let me go get those now. All right. Sorry about that, guys. So, as you can see, you got the red reflectors there. Then you got the red reflectors over the tailpipes. Red lights. It's kind of my scheme that I was going with. So I think it looks pretty good. And then of course, you know, the ones up front, if I get to them before they turn off, are yellow. Oh, they turned off on me. Of course they did, because you know, I'm fat and slow. But anyway, there you go. And then when you can't really see right now, those turn yellow with the parking brakes. When they're normally on at night, they are white. So you have the white from the headlights, the white from the fog lights, the dim white from the RTR, and that's what you got going on in your front end. So it looks pretty good when it's like that. Like I said, the car's a little dirty. I took it out yesterday and, you know, got bugs squished on it. But you know, it kind of part of the deal, right? All right, and with the car itself, we'll go show you a little more here in a moment, but it is running long tube headers. I was running long tube headers before the supercharger. It does have the oil pump gears on it, boundary. So the car itself is sound in that aspect. And then you have the Cook's long tube with the H pipe. And then from the H pipe, it comes over to the Corsa system, and it's 3.5 inch all the way around, exiting to a 4-inch pipe at the back. This is the active system. It is in the chrome black because why not, right? It looks so much better than the stainless steel silver that came factory with it. It sounded good before, and like I said, this is sometimes a little loud, not Brandon loud, but loud nonetheless. And the good part is I do have the active exhaust, so I can kind of tone it down as I need to. But you got the supercharger now, right? So you want the max flow going from front to rear. So flipping off, you know, one of the sides of the exhaust, you know, sometimes doesn't really work out that great. So we leave it open and we deal with it. The difference between sport and track, I really can't tell on normal driving. Sport, you can always tell that the car will jump from normal. So normal to sport, you can definitely tell. The car itself gets a little more peppier and things get tuned in a little better. But yeah, so that is this outside part of this car. Let me get into some other stuff that you can't see. All right, well, good old WASP here. I've got a lot of stuff done, stuff that y'all won't see unless you're under the car, right? So what I have here, and I've said it before, exhaust wise, Cook's long tube headers, the green ones, but they're high flow cats. So I wanted the high flow cats. I have no issues with it. I have the defowlers, the upgrade, right? So I have the defowlers on the back half to give it, you know, what it needs to for those to work. So no check engine light whatsoever from that part of it being done, right? Good to have, good to know. It does work. I had it before the supercharger, just to let y'all know. Look for the defowlers. I think at parts.com or something like that, I found them. I don't know exactly, but if y'all want to know, hit me up and I'll let you know where they came from. So then I have the Corsa exhaust from the H pipe. Yes, the H pipe. I'm not riding an X pipe. I don't like the raspy. The H pipe to me is more of a deeper throat. And for some reason on S650s, you get like 2 or 3 more horsepower because of the X versus the H. Who thought? Because it's usually the other way around. But this car, this model, you get a little extra boost. So whatever, we'll take what we can, right? So that comes through the rear. And then active exhaust Corsa, you know, so I can have the changing of the tone if need be. My car is programmed between 6 and 8 in the morning to start in quiet mode. So that means the flap is closed and it sounds like it's a tin can. It's like, it sounds really weird. It sounds like almost my Ego Boost, right? So like I said, and then all you do is flip it up and then you down the road and you got your sound that you need. So that is a nice part with that also, with the active exhaust. It was kind of pricey, of course. Corsa is not cheap. Your boy doesn't get deals. I don't got brand deals. I don't have people reaching out to me to give me crap. So everything on this car was purchased by Joel into my GT Incorporated. Me, myself, and I. So all this has been done by me. I shout out the people that I like and that talk to me and help me out and try to give me a little deal here and there. But for the most part, everything's out of my pockets. So I just wanted to clarify that because there's nothing on this car that was given to me from a sponsor, a company, nothing. It's just me. So, and like I said, I've got discounts now through maybe Brandon because he works for, you know, Tune 5 and, you know, American Muscle, and I could get some parts of it, but not all the parts that I got on this car came from him or what have you, you know. So again, a lot of it, most of it, pretty much all of it has been funded by me. So it's not that anybody's giving me anything, and this is why it takes me a little bit of time to do stuff. And I do it for me. I don't really do it for the content. I do it for me. This is what I like. I like to tinker. I like to. That's why I put my own supercharger in. That's why I do my own stuff, because A, it's knowledge, right? B, it's built, not bought. You didn't buy it. Someone didn't build it for you, right? You did the work to it. So you have that sense of accomplishment when you're actually turning your own wrenches. Now, I know some people can't do it or don't want to try it, but trust me, there's a lot of things that if you can't think you can do, you can probably do it. You got to believe in yourself and give it a whack. And trust me, I felt leery, you know, a $60,000 car, brand new, whatever, and tearing everything out of it, you know, the whole top of the motor, this, that, and the other. It's a little crazy. So I totally get it. And like I said, some of the stuff I got done with a buddy of mine, Jay, you know, some of the suspension work got done with Chase, another buddy of mine. So there's been people in the car that have done things for me. Again, I can't do all the work that I would love to do to this car by myself because of the way that my body acts sometimes. You know, I'll do some work and then I'll be out of commission for a couple of days, you know, and sometimes it's worth it, sometimes it's not. So nevertheless, there's nothing on this car that could not have been done by somebody. The sway bars, anything. So we'll get into that in a second. So I know this will be a long video, but I don't make them that much anymore because I am working, so you're going to get one today. All right, we rolled through the exhaust. So but before that, suspension. These are the Magna-Ride springs from Steeda. They're not the dual rate. They're the, I want to say that it's their Pro Series, but it's the Magna-Ride ones. They work amazing. The fitment, the way that it drops the car, everything. Now, probably a little lower on the front might have been better, but hey, you don't rub, right? I'm running 285s in the front. You don't rub, so we're good there. The fitment in the back, awesome. Like I said, you get your finger up in there, you know. Like I said, these are 305s. So the 315s that I have on the other fit more of a flush fitment, but you still don't rub. I kind of like this because they tuck in a little better this way. So when you do hit the aggressive bumps or whatever, you don't feel nothing or even have the fear of it even happening. So with that being done, the suspension is there. I have the Steeda camber plates on the top here. Let me open up this hood. All right, I have the caster plates in here. It's either caster camber or camber plates, but I don't know. I get confused. So anyway, I had them up here wrong. Someone told me before, and we got those corrected. Took down the shock, put them back under here. So now they have their mobility to go side to side. Where if you don't and you leave it factory, they will stay. You don't have that adjustment. It is what it is, and that's all you have. You know. So I think you had toe, but you didn't have no camber. So yes, I definitely would get a caster camber plate for the newer cars because it gives you that adjustment for your wheels. And as you can see, my wheels sit pretty much where I need them to be, straight up and down. So with that being said, I have a sway bar in here. I have the Steeda adjustable front sway bar. I don't know if you can see it because there's a lot going on under this car now. It's there, but like I said, you can see it right there. It's the blue bar. Got that front and rear. They're both adjustable. Just for the fact that the factory ones weren't bad. Don't get me wrong, and it's not a necessary thing. But again, when I was building this car, and I stated it many times that I wanted it to be an all-around car. So this way, I can have that adjustment. If I feel like taking it to the track, and I want to have more grip on the inside and whatever, or you know, have it, you know, not oversteer, understeer type deal, at least I have that adjustment on the bar. Right now it's sitting in the neutral position. I have one up and one down, so I can kind of adjust which way I need to go with that. So that is with that front part of this car. Coming to the rear, I have the rear sway bar. Steeda also, it was in their little kit. So we have the adjustable rear bar for this also. I'm not getting under the car to show you, but it is under there. Take my word for it. And then some of the other things I had done to this, I have the stop the hop kit that is under there. I have the alignment bushings are in there, so that helps for the alignment, because once you lower these cars, there's an alignment bolt that goes up through the frame. If you don't get these spacers, it makes it harder to align the rear end of the car. This will center the car in the rear and you won't have any issues. So just, they make the kit with that from Steeda. It comes in one whole kit and caboodle, or you can break it down. They have a starter kit, an ultimate kit, like a race kit. They have kit over kit, you know, so you'll find the flavor that you're looking for at some point, right? Then I have the jacking rails. Now the jacking rails start right around this area and they go up to about here or so. I did that way I can just throw the jack in the middle, lift one half of the car up, change the tires, whatever, right? So with that being said, the jacking rails also are almost like a subframe connector, because it connects this part of the body to that part of the body. So it kind of gives you two things for one thing, right? And they're not that expensive and they're not hard to put on. And like I said, if you jack up your car a lot, it'll save your pinch rails. It'll save a lot of stuff in there that from getting bent from up and down a lot. So, and again, if you take it to the track, it's kind of what the purpose is for. You sit the center, you knock out the two sides, drop it, do the same on the other, and you're good to go. It takes out some of the time. Let's see, what else is under there? Drive shaft. Drive shaft is a one piece. It is the drive shaft shop, and I have a BMR drive shaft loop under there also. Now with the loop and the exhaust, you may encounter a clearance problem. Like I said, we had to adjust it, and every now and then I get a vibration. Sometimes it's at, like when you're in like 5th gear or something, driving like 70-ish, you'll feel it like kind of rumble a little under you. And that's just because the exhaust comes around like this, and there's a bolt that, I guess when it has a flex, it'll kind of tap it a little bit. I really haven't got into a lot of it per se to go under there. I don't really feel it all the time. And with you changing a lot of the components, you're taking all the soft bushings out and adding more of a firmness to the car. So when you add the stop the hocket, it stiffens up your frame a little bit. When you add the one piece, you had a two piece before with the isolator in the middle. That's now gone. It's just straight front to rear. So little things that you do to your car, you have to understand that you're going to get some NVH, some noise, some vibration when you do stuff. It's kind of part of the deal. If you don't want it, don't do any of that stuff to your car, because eventually it's going to happen. But nevertheless, that is, I believe, everything under the car. It does have an MGW shifter, the race spec. It's not the shortest one. It's the middle of the road race spec. I think there's a race spec with a smaller handle. So, yeah. So like I said, that is part of that deal. And like I said, that is what kind of sets the platform up for me. Like I said, I have the suspension done. I have adjustment points. I have the sound that I want. Everything is keyed in to what my idea was. Again, this will run at the track because it has a stop the hop kit. It'll run on a road course because it has the sway bars and has adjustability. It daily drives like a dream. It does it, it's 850 horsepower and it drives like a Prius sometimes. So, it's smooth. I wouldn't say a Prius. I guess that wouldn't be a good terminology for it, but it rides smooth for what it is. Even with all the changes, The car will handle corners. It's not loud. Like I said, rear seat delete, you know, that took some of the cushioning away. But I did add some, so it kind of balances out a little bit. It's not really that bad. But yeah, like I said, it is a great car. The platform just needed to be tweaked. I think Ford missed a lot of spots with it when they first sent them out. And like I said, there's recalls upon recalls upon recalls. Ford comes with recalls. Just have to let you know that if you're getting a Ford, you're gonna get recall. This thing has one for the PCM. I took it in and they said it wasn't leaking, and I took the car back because I saw what the fix is, and I'm like, I don't want them fucking playing with silly putty under my hood. So when the time comes, we might take care of that down the road, but right now it is good. The car is garage kept most of the time. You know, we'll get wet at some point here and there, but for the most part, it sits in the garage, this one or the one in the back, and we're okay with that. So we're not too worried about that. I just got a recall for the rear camera that it might blink out. But in the whole recall, they waste paper. They could have just emailed you or something, I don't know, because they said that it was fixed over the live updates on these cars. So, okay, FYI, I suppose, right? All right, let's go talk about the meat and potatoes here. The stuff that people have been interested in and happy to see, and you know, something that has made me happy to do. And there's a yellow jacket in here. I must think this is his cousin. Anyway, this is my 3-liter Whipple supercharged, installed by me with a little help from my friends, of course. We're not going to forget them because it wasn't a total job, but most of it, I'll say 90% of it was done by me. So, you know, putting the lid on and moving some stuff around, that was done, but for the most part, I did this install. I did that install on Brandon's car. Go look at his videos. Came out pretty good too. But the whole meat and potatoes. My Whipple supercharger. Now, this was the basis of what I've always wanted to do with this car when I got it. But again, I did not have the flow for it. So Electra got sold. Excuse me. Electra got sold with the intention of this being done. Now again, things happen around my life sometimes that kind of are weird. So when this was ordered, Electra was sold, paid off some bills, got the supercharger. Got it through Chuck at Whipple. Thank you very much. And again, Brandon helped me out with some of the stuff, and I got this at a decent price. I got this whole kit with the carbon fiber and all the extras and all the smaller pulleys and bigger throttle body and everything else for less than what you would pay for a stage 1. And this is a stage 2. So again, my appreciation goes out to them. I hope I represent the car for them the way they like. Like I said, sometimes it isn't the full discount, you know, that you go for, but sometimes working with certain people kind of help the flow a little bit and you enjoy working with them. So again, thanks a lot, guys. Brandon, of course, you're my son. You're supposed to help your dad, but I do appreciate it. But again, with this going on, this was ordered. Electra was sold. And y'all can go look at Tyler's videos and see what stuff he's done to that car. And my honest opinion on Tyler's car now. Now, I like some of the stuff he's done. I don't like some of the stuff he's done. I'm kind of biased because Electra was done my way, right? People have asked me this question. I'm not upset. I don't miss the car, and it is his car. He needs to do what he needs to do with that car and to make it his own and to enjoy it. Take the life, and if he wants to sell it tomorrow, that's his deal, right? Don't ask me if I've got beef or problems or no, I don't. That is his car. I did what I needed to do. Electra was the way I liked it. Now he's got Sonic the way he likes it. And that is fine, and that is perfect, and that's good. Now again, there's stuff that I wouldn't have done because now to me, and this is my opinion, it's everybody else's Mustang. It's got the same ground effects. It's got the same, everything on that car is just like any other Mustang you see at a car show. And that was just what I wasn't going for. And there's nothing wrong with that, because that's what they like. That's what he likes. And I'm fine with that. The car is beautiful. The car looks good. It's just not what I was doing. And that's what the same with this car. It's not set up the same way that everybody else would set it up, because it's not their car. When they have their own stuff, they have their own vision of what they want to do. And I have my own vision of what I want to do. So again, Tyler's car looks wonderful. Again, things that I wanted, because I've got, you know, for years, put on the Rouse skirts. I don't want the Rouse skirts. Change the lip. I didn't want to change the lip. You know, so now people can see what it looks like on that car the way it is. Like I said, the car is beautiful. He's taking care of it, and his things are looking pretty sharp. So again, not for me, but that's what he likes. So take that for what it is. Like I said, I love the car still, and you know, I wish him the best. He's gotten a lot of stuff fixed in it. I think he finally got that squeak out. Thank God, because that was, I understand his frustration with that one for sure. Okay, back to my old WASP. So when this got ordered, I was working for a place called Al Automotive Consultants. They're an IT firm, remote job. I got laid off right after I ordered this. Go freaking figure, right? So that was on the way. There was no whatever, you know. So that's kind of why I did the install. I had the time to do it. I was going to do it at Derek's house, but then whatever changed or whatever, a buddy of mine let me use his quick jacks, and it worked out pretty good here. Derek did come and help me one day to get some of the bigger stuff done, and then for the most part I did the rest of the install, plumbing, making sure everything was where it was. You ever do this install on an S650, do not forget that sensor that sits right back in there. It'll give you a headache if you do. So just to let you know. So went ahead and installed this anyway. I was laid off. What else am I going to do, right? Save me time, give me shit to do here. So with that being done, I ordered this. Now I went ahead and, like I said, I ordered this from VMP because, well, no, let me scratch that around a little bit. VMP offered this. They're the only one that offered a strut tower brace that fits over a Whipple supercharger. Only catch is, it is carbon fiber. Now you have a matte carbon and a gloss carbon. I went ahead with the gloss, but then I sat there and thought about it for a little while, and I'm just like, well, I can't just have this under here for the gloss or for carbon per se. So I went ahead and ordered the VMP tubing that is carbon fiber. It is real carbon fiber. It's not the fake stuff. It ain't look alike. It is real carbon fiber. So, and as you can see, it says VMP. Got that ordered. Okay. This came like 3 days after I ordered it. That came 3 months after I ordered it, because they were still getting those squared away and getting them straight. Now, well, let me not lose track. I'll come back to that in a second. Then, with that being ordered, they have the carbon fiber shroud that goes over the radiator cover. So, or it is the radiator cover. So that kind of keyed things off for me. So that kind of left, you know, everything in like a little step order. So it's not just one piece that has carbon fiber, it just has little accents across it. I am not a carbon fiber guy. Never been, you know, but I think little accents of carbon fiber don't look bad. And like I said, this is all under the motor compartment. I do not have it besides the shift ball, and of course I got that from Brandon. And if you look at Brandon's car, you would understand the carbon fiber world that he lives in. But this is kind of the set that I wanted to go with. you know, because it kind of keyed off a little bit and it didn't just throw things everywhere and what have you. So with the strut tower brace, they were having problems with their manufacturer that, or whoever was building it, their vendor. And like I said, it took them a little while to get it straight. Then they had one that wouldn't fit right, then whatever the case was. So eventually it got to me. It didn't have the coyote thing in the middle, the little badging. So Anchor Room, thank you for that. Let me give you your little bit. Like I said, they're great guys down there, and it came pretty quick, and I had the same kind of plate on my other car. And as you can see, I kind of customized it. It's Whipple Supercharged S650, 815 horsepower. Now, 815 horsepower was on the bigger pulley and not on E30. Now, this car has run now a smaller pulley, and it's on E30 at times. So we will say that number is closer to 850-ish. 845 to be not too aggressive, but 850. So this is an 850 horsepower S650 daily, can be daily driven, not daily driven, but can be daily driven. So like I said, the car is amazing now. Like I said, there's little things you gotta do to vehicles to make them your own. Now, if you're not a car person, this wouldn't relate to you. But like I said, just the accent pieces, the way that you kind of, like I said, I've always bitched about the fog lights because these cars did not come with fog lights. Ford says you get enough with the headlights. Not true. And it's just the generational thing, you know, with the Mustangs. Every Mustang GT had fog lights at some point. The little strip ones, the big ones, the GT 500s back in the day, everything had fog lights. All of a sudden, nothing has fog lights. Don't know why. Sorry, the security keeps clicking because I got the hood on and I'm near it. See, it's acting the fool because I'm near it. But nevertheless, so now I think the front end is complete. Like I said, with the RTR, I love the grille. Now, if they had it back in the day, or you could get it, the RTR without the lights, that would have been fine. But you know, that's kind of what they're known for. And the way I got it set up, they work good the way it is now. But like I said, even if they had the RTR with the inlets that were just black and that grille, I think it would look fine too. All right, everybody, I was having some technical difficulties with my camera. It got overheated and would not shut on or off, and I didn't know what recorded, so I needed to go back. So if there's some weird stuff on that last clip, just bypass it. I'll try to catch it on editing. But anyway, as I was saying here, now that the front end is complete, again, the fog lights I think are definitely a nice touch, a good key to the car. I don't know why Ford didn't think they needed them, but for the most part, they are on there now. And like I said, the RTR lights were the reason for getting those was because there was no fog lights. And then later on, Diode Dynamics came out with their version of it, and now it has this whole cluster in the front. But nevertheless, it looks pretty good, and they work fine. And like I said, at night you can see pretty good, and you know, it is what it is, right? So, addressing the dual boxes. I know people get a little crazy because they're like, oh, you're sucking in heat, or, you know, yada, yada, yada. These literally suck up to the top of this panel. You can see the mark where they sit. There and there. There's no heat coming from this engine compartment into these boxes. So, and then you got the snouts that come out. I'm gonna go feed right in. So that is nice for this car because the Dark Horses had the snouts that feed in, where our cars with the regular grill, they have most of that covered up. There's only a few that are opened up to do it. So now you have it sucking in air, this breathing, the exhaust, the cook's headers down there. You know, you got this intense airflow going in now. So you definitely have that. And the car is amazing now. So definitely think Whipple is the way to go. I know there's people that like to hear the sounds and the whistles and whatever, and Whipple's a little quiet. I give you that. Even when you're balls to the wall, it's quiet. They have the little sound tube that goes in the car. Who wants to drill into their carbon fiber thing to get a sound tube in there, right? So I'm not going to worry about all that. And I kind of like it that way, because if the hood's down, you don't know what's under there. You don't hear it, right? So good to go with that. Other than that, like I said, we might experiment with lips if anybody out there. I don't want nothing aggressive to it. Again, like I said, I like it because I don't have a travel issue with it. I don't want something that sits too low or pokes out too far. That's kind of why this lip to me is fine, because this is the performance back lip. The regular ones just have the little bead that goes around without the little flares. So, you know, it is kind of is what it is, right? So we'll go with that, you know, and that's fine with me. Well, while I'm under here, let me show you some of the other things that have changed. Because over here in the Mustang, they had like the normal plastic box. Ishimoto got me one. Again, it's something I paid for. And for the most part, if you ran the normal air boxes in this car, this would make a lot more sense. But I'm running the dual open air boxes, and they're tall. So right here is the window to see what you have with your antifreeze in there. Yeah, unfortunately I can't see that. I'll put a mirror here with a light to kind of look and see what it is. Or if you're not running it like right now, you can take the lid off, but you know that sends air into the system, because right now it's sealed, and it's accurate, where if you open it up it'll make it rise. Same thing with the Whipple one. As you can see that I have it right at the minimum line, but when it's running, it's up here. If I open this, you'll see this come up. So I don't want to mess with that too much. It has plenty in there. There's no issues, and it runs cool. J&L oil separator, or OSC now. This is the one that I had. It has moved around the car quite a bit. It's supposed to have been over here in this corner is where it started its original home. Right here off of this bolt. And then it sat up in this area. I don't know. Y'all could go back and look at my past videos. Then they have an extension kit for this. But the problem with the extension kit, it goes right here. What's the problem there, right? So, me being me, I went ahead and called Vinny down at OSC, J&L. They're down here at Chesapeake, right down the road. And I hit them up and I'm like, well, hey, do y'all have some time so we could kind of create one for the strut tower brace that I have going on? And he goes, well, try this. So he sent me some extra tubing and connectors and showed me how to put them on. You know, they gave me the directions how to do it, and their directions show you how to do it on the extension kit that brings it over here, because you have to shorten and raise and do whatever the hose is. So it's kind of the same concept, but what I had to do here is, this is the straight bracket that goes like this. It looks like a Z like this. So now it really looks like a Z, because now it's like this way, and this way. You have to bend it forward a little bit, and it still sits on that same bolt that it would normally sit way in the back, but now you have the clearance of the strut tower brace, and then you put it right here. Then your normal hose, nice easy flow to it, goes right here. And then we have a little short hose now that goes from here to the crank. So the crankshaft, excuse me, not the crankshaft, you know what that is, don't make me say it. Anyway, so with that being done, at least you got that nice little run from there up and then over to there. So no issues whatsoever that I know of. Everything seems to flow good. No problems, no leaks, no nothing. So, hey, there you go. And that's how that is incorporated now with the system. Now, if you got the driver's side, I don't know how that would exactly work over here. Maybe they would have, because it would have to be here somewhere, or is it underneath? I don't know exactly, to there. So wherever this one goes to here. So I don't know. That would be capped off in some weird spot. But nevertheless, that is all the little pieces parts under here. So I'm kind of tickled the way that it all came out. And I think the aesthetic of the way that the car is with the yellow, the carbon fiber, the way it's all dressed up, it's pretty good. All right, everybody. So that is WASP in a nutshell. That is my ideas with the Homestead. And, you know, some of the other stuff will work. So I know it's a kind of packed little video, but like I said, I don't know how often I'm going to start sending them out because I do have other things on the back burner. And as things key up and get done, I will probably make some videos and let y'all at least know what is going on in my life a little bit. So for the most part, WASP is done. WASP is finished. Maybe some cosmetic things here and there. Who knows? I don't know exactly what's going to happen with all that. Car is sound, it's fine, and it drives wonderful. So no issues with WASP at the moment. We're loving her. We're enjoying her. We're going to keep her for a while. All right, everybody, so I am going to go ahead and stop this video. I might show you a last little thing with the lights when I'm done with it, but for the most part, that is all I got. That kind of rounds out everything. That gives you kind of an update back on WASP of everything that's been going on. You got old Nightwing out here, needs a serious wash. Again, like I said, I drive her more than I used to now because, you know, I have to go away for work. So she a little dirty, but we're going to get her cleaned up, get her back to her normal standing. Brandon, of course, is Brandon. He's been doing some stuff with his car. He added, redid his carbon fiber dash, some new stuff in there, and he's got his car pretty much squared away. I think he's enjoying it now where it is. Storm over here, not much going on with this. Like I said, it's just kind of did the rear backup camera, the front camera, and that type of stuff. But like I said, she enjoys the car the way it is, so we're leaving it like that. Maybe one day we'll boost it or do something a little different to it, you know, just to change it up. But like I said, me buying wheels the way I do, they all fit all the cars, so they can kind of get interchanged. So we'll see how that goes, right? The Jeep, nothing really on the forefront for that. The truck, nothing on the forefront for that either. So we're just going to live life, bring y'all along when we have a chance, and then go from there and finish up our day. So again, I'm going to jump on this light real quick and then maybe just show you how the end of it is at the end of the video and then be done with it. Like I said, this was just a kind of a catch-up video. I wanted y'all to come along. I haven't forgot about y'all, but my life is a little busier now. I'm working a little later and things are going on in my life. So again, hey, life gets in the way, right? So we'll see you in a minute with the light finishing, and then we'll finish up the video. All right, everyone, so not looking into the light because it'll throw the crazy shadow. It's still throwing the crazy shadow, but right now I have this outside one on and that outside one on, and this is probably how I'll have it because this is the path I usually walk right here. And yes, this is a broom. I don't drive it. I'll show you what it's for in a minute, and then have it over there. So when I go to detail, you know, the outside ones aren't so important, but if you look up here, I got switches on the ceiling. Yep, that's what the broom's for. So clip it. I could have them all on too if need be, but so yeah, see, I could have them all on and it'd be all super bright. But for the sake of argument here, nope, wrong one. So I'll have the center ones over here. Let's see, I got another one up here. So when I'm detailing a car or having something else go on that I don't need all the lights on, I'll just have the center lit up. I could do my cleaning and doing what I need to do there. And then for full lighting, I just turn them all on. So yeah, it is what it is, right? Got a broom though, make it work. All right, everybody, that is the video for today. I hope y'all enjoyed it. It was long-winded, but I wanted to catch up on a couple different, good God, I can't see. A couple things that were going on, what my plans were, maybe for the house, maybe at some point. Wanted to go back and review good old WASP. Gonna go ahead and have to do some stuff to Nightwing, clean her up a little bit. But, you know, that's where I am in my life. Job is doing good 3 weeks in. So, you know, we'll see where we are 6 months from now. Like I said, I don't feel super comfortable with everything quite yet. I'm learning the processes and stuff, but that kind of comes with time, right? So like I said, I got my first paycheck, so that made Pam happy for sure. Nevertheless, job is secured and working. We're gonna have to discuss Mustang week in one of my later videos. I know there's a kind of a stink about it, and I got my own opinion about that too. I don't know if I'll be going to Charlotte for sure. But that's for another story. That's for another time. I hope y'all have a great weekend. This will probably be popping up on Monday's video. So we'll see you on Monday. Later, guys.